everyone is really excited about what's about to happen. Last week, I can't remember your name, sorry, but you brought up finances. Now, I know for a lot of you, finances may have been something that has steadily but gradually been getting better. And I think now that we're midway point in the year, it's probably a good astrological point of view to look at money from. Venus on the 13th moves into the sign of Leo. Now, how does this affect us in the real world? Venus is the planet of finances, of beauty, of luxury, of comfort. Moving into a sign that is representative of the sun is very ego heavy. It's very inner child heavy energy. If you are to use this energy to really bask in how, by mere being here, by mere presence of being here, what you're tapping into with this Venus and Leo energy is this natural kind of entitlement, but not in the wrong kind of way, this natural entitlement to finances, abundance, security, well-being, practicing self-care, and the such. This period of time, if you wish it to be, can be one of those times where you really begin to believe for yourself how you really do deserve to be provided for, taken care of, and supported by the universe, right? Abundance is one of those things. It's a mindset. Now, Venus in the sign of Leo really is about that abundance mindset. It's a summer energy. It's about the inevitability of what is growing and what is harvesting and what's coming in. There is a confidence about this energy. There is this underlying energy of, like I said, being owed or being entitled. And there's something really comforting about that, because it kind of pulls away from these man-made matrices, these man-made systems that make us depend heavily on the system, when really and truly, if you are to really get into the belief and the thinking that if you're here, naturally you have your own destiny where you are being provided for, and it's more valuable and worth more merit if you are to be in that state of thinking. And that's what Venus in Leo is all about. It's about knowing that because you're here, you're being provided for, because there is a greater intelligent system that is looking out for you. On the day following, on the 14th, there's a new moon in Gemini. This is one of those new moons where, if you wish to, you could tap into a lot of intellectual information that you may not have been savvy to before this new moon. New moons for me are a beginning. It's a point where you can set out your intentions to follow through into the full moon and to see how far you've come along with those intentions. It's also a really good time with this new moon, I think, to see where it is, intellectually speaking. You may not have allowed yourself to practice limitlessness. I think the energy of both coming together, of this Venus in Leo and this Gemini new moon, really is an invitation to see where it is that you can really expand for yourself finances, where it is that you can really expand for yourself and feel more entitled to not only finances, but a natural state of abundance. What does that mean for you? A house, a home, a car, security, safety, money saved up. This is that new moon where, if you really wish to sit in that Leo energy of, I deserve to be provided for, I deserve to be taken care of, I deserve to have what I want to have, and so it is. By this new moon, if you are to sit down and actually write out the affirmations of all the things that you wish to have, without putting on yourself the limitations of the system, without putting on yourself the limitations that the matrix may have made you about, if you're willing to live and sit in that, welcome everyone, welcome. If you're willing to sit in that energy of, because I'm here, There is some grander, greater plan that's going on. Now, I don't need to sit here and micromanage where the money is going to come from, but I am going to sit here and believe in the greater workings of things. A lot of you during this time period, if you're willing to put your attention on the fact that you can do what you want to do and still be provided for and taken care of by God, by the universe, by whatever it is that you believe in, if you're willing to sit there and spend this period of time in actually affirming to yourself that you don't need to be dependent on a system, you don't need to be dependent on a government that is literally putting you in bad karma because of the things that it's participating in, you don't need to be part of playing into the matrix's hooks because it's draining you. Now, if you're actually willing to understand that you are a magnet and that you can co-create for yourself the level of wealth that you are comfortable enough to hold without resistance, because resistance is ultimately just another form of fear disguised as rationale. Welcome, everyone. If you are willing to be open enough to accept that there is other ways, not necessarily just the way that the system has imprinted onto your subconscious. There are other ways. And if you're maybe to ask the greater intelligence to help you find your way, that might be a lot more lucrative for you than depending on a system. It's a good time to try it. So guys, let's get into a few house rules. Welcome everybody, good morning. Do hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe button if you would like to receive the benefits of the message. If you're interested in booking a reading with me, you can do so. Email me rubyreadstarot@hotmail.com. All payments are currently PayPal only. So let's get into the energy of this Venus in Leo transit, as well as the combined power of this new moon, which for me, I think is one of the best times of the year to manifest finances. These two energies together will really put you in the right frame of mind to be entitled enough to what you've already paid into a system for it to come back to you. Okay, somewhere along the lines there has been somewhere where I feel like a lot of you may have been a bit distracted from the fact that we don't need to play into a system in order to get paid. If you're here, naturally there is something that you are meant to be doing. There is something that is a point and purpose to the beginning and the end of your story, which naturally involves the abundance. If you're willing to click into the idea that, you know what, it's all energy. Ultimately, it's all energy. Now, if you are going to sit in the abundance of the nature of things, right? If you're willing to sit into that energy with this Venus in Leo transit, it will be really easy for you to draw in things like a magnet. But to maintain with this new moon in Gemini, to maintain that level of frequency is something that needs to be perfected. And a lot of you, I believe, will have perfected it. But a lot of you that may still be struggling with money or wondering where it's going to come from need to disconnect from these systems, these grids, these false institutions. Your money doesn't come from there. Your money comes from your energetic signature. What identity are you radiating out when it comes to money? Because you could sit there and affirm until you're blue in the face that you have all the money in the world, but if your personal aura, if your identity, if the vibrations that you're giving out are struggle, lack, what do you think you'll be drawing in? This is the work that needs to be done right now. Venus in Leo is saying, who are you? What is your identity? If you are someone who is, like I said earlier, entitled to the sunshine, entitled to the good life, just because you're here, if you're willing to tap into that energy just while this transit is taking place, watch how much it does for your life. There is this need for being creative also while Venus is in the sign of Venus. So when I talk about tapping into your point and your purpose, believe me when I say, when you're in that flow of doing what you're supposed to be doing, money will be drawn in automatically. First card out, High Priestess. There's a lot of you who are already in the know. Every bit of information that you have needed, you have, just out of sheer experience that of the things that you've already been through. There is somewhere here that is saying, refer back to your experiences, use your experiences as references when it comes to challenges that you might face indefinitely. You are well knowledged enough. You have all of the relevant bits of information to reference whilst you sit in between the good and the bad, understanding the cyclical flow of life. If the moon has its phases, so do you. Cyclical phases, lunar, cyclical, everything is a cyclical phase. The more able you are to rest on your laurels during this phase, the more willing you are to sit between the black and the white and understand that each gradient is a message, the more willing you are to move with the flow, the more willing you are to move with your own cycles and respect the phases that you naturally have to go through, the more willing you are to separate yourself from systems, from matrices, from false institutions, believing that they bear power over you, the more willing you are to return back to your true self, to a version of yourself where you know that you may have been sat in sentimentality, in nostalgia, in comfort. There's a version of you that you will need to tap back into, especially when it comes to what you know. 3 of Swords, 7 of Pentacles, 6 of Pentacles, and the 8 of Cups. I have a feeling this one's going to be a bit of an abstract message if you are following along. I appreciate you because we're kind of in a step above the rest. But that's why I like to call you guys the 0.001% of the world. You'll understand exactly what I'm saying and you'll hopefully go out and act on it. There is somewhere where you need to reconcile with something that feels quite sentimental and nostalgic. However, you'll have to do it with more of a developed consciousness. There is something that may have been posing as a heartbreak, a pain in your heart. You're being asked to revise a situation that involves you creating wealth for yourself. There's a level of balance, of equilibrium, a balance of give and take, what it is that you are reserving for yourself, as well as what you have available to use as a transactional medium. You will be asked to move on from a certain storyline, especially when it comes to you having to go back to something that may have broken your heart, because ultimately the hard work that you were putting in was not paying out for you. Now, this doesn't mean that your work is not good enough. What that may actually mean is that you may not be in the right place for you to be getting recognized for your talents and your abilities. So when I say make your peace with the fact that any returning to, now please not forget that there's going to be a Mercury retrograde at the end of the month. Well, I believe this message is strongly saying to you, anywhere where you are being told to reconcile, you will have to use your experience as reference to the knowledge that you're going to need in order to go back to a certain thing, a certain something. It can be returning to a home, a relationship, a job, a particular industry that you may have been part of. You are well knowledged now. There is this energy of heartbreak. which I think it's a really good idea for everyone to acknowledge just while we're here, just while we're looking at this. The swords that may have become so tightly wedged into that heart that they've almost become septic, and it's now impossible to live with the presence of these thoughts, these traumas, these forms of hurt that may have occurred. I always believe that when the Three of Swords comes up, it's almost like an invitation to get really quiet and to really sit with yourself and really understand what it is truly that is causing this hurt in your heart. What is it that has been the reason for this heartbreak? If you can identify for yourself what, you can then go about looking at how you can reconcile for yourself what it is that you need to do to mend a broken heart, because ultimately speaking, it is not something external to you that can resolve this to you. This is gonna have to be that energy with Venus in Leo, where you're kind of tending to wounds because there is this level of entitlement to I deserve the best life. So in any other energy where you may not have really allowed yourself that time, that moment in space to really look at what it is that you're still carrying with you in terms of a broken heart, what exactly is it in terms of a narrative that you have to look at now that you may have outgrown, that may have grown infected and septic, and you're now being invited to heal yourself? Because whatever this wound is, whatever this heartbreak it is, it has everything to do with how you are earning money for yourself and how certain boundaries of yours may have been exploited or broken or taken advantage of. You have to move on from that storyline. I like how this is making a clearer picture now. Ultimately, what this is saying, this is somewhere that you're gonna have to go back to. It can be a certain energy, it can be a certain job, it can be a certain place. You're well equipped now to understand how to handle this thing. There is certain traumas and triggers that are still very much playing out in your heart space. Now, if you are someone that wants to make more money, you are inevitably gonna have to open up your heart space, and those heart chakra meditations are gonna have to be your strong point, because frankly it is the strongest muscle, it is the strongest energetic point, it is the place where the aura radiates from. Now if you are able to practice strengthening your strongest muscle like that, there is the very inevitable possibility that you are able then to not only heal broken parts of yourself, but to draw in, like we said earlier, those parts of you that are entitled just by sheer being here to the things of abundance, contentment, and finances. There is somewhere where you will have to roll your sleeves up and get to work. Inevitably, the more willing you are to pour yourself into what is your purpose, what is your meaning, the more likely you are going to be tested with how well you maintain your boundaries. I think certain storylines where heartbreak, disappointment, and fear associated to money will have to be moved on from with this Venus in Leo transit. And I feel like with this new moon in Gemini, it's going to give you that intellectual edge to really look at what it is that you can do to receive. Hi. Who's paying attention? If you're paying attention, can you hit the thumbs up button? There is this opportunity with Venus in Leo. There is this opportunity with this new moon in Gemini. If you're really wishing to align your energy in the direction of wealth and abundance, it's absolutely possible, and you can absolutely do it regardless of how much of a broken heart you have, if you're willing to get on with what it is that you know that you need to do to put you in the mind frame of somebody who is maintaining not only their balance, but they're actually living out their purpose and doing the things that they're supposed to do. There's got to be an emotional moving on from all of the things that have kept you, I think, frankly speaking, in a place of a broken-hearted view when it comes to love. Don't you love this energy? 2 points of reference to the solar plexus. The Sun and the Ace of Pentacles. A lot of you are about to receive a message very quickly about finances and how they are coming into your life in a very abundant manner. Now, for a lot of you, this is a proverbial, shall we say, gift from the universe. But for a lot of you, you're actually tuning into how to make money in the real way, not necessarily out here in the 3D, in the matrix, but actually how you energetically go about connecting to the resonance of somebody who is wealthy. If you were worried about wealth, you already have all of the intellectual resources, you already have all the experience, and you already have all of the knowledge. You're now being put in a position that for a lot of you are going to feel like this is you going back to something. It's an energy that you're going back to with the knowledge, with the relevant experience, with all of the bits of information that you can tap into within yourself in order to be able to get back into this thing that you know that you have been doing, you've done, you already know it. There is this energy of hurt, heartbreak that is still lingering over money that needs to be resolved. Okay, I'm going to just put this out there. Wherever it is that you may have been disappointed in the past, wherever it is that there may be a real traumatic link to money, this has to be resolved in this Venus and Leo phase whilst there is this new moon in Gemini. Now, like I said, if you're willing to make a contract with the universe on this new moon, you are very likely to see where your purpose is, what you're supposed to be doing to make money, and how it is absolutely time for you to roll your sleeves up, take all of your attention off of all of the matrix's hooks into what you think you're supposed to be doing for money, when realistically a lot of you are being invited now to move away from the restrictive, limited game that the system will have you play. There is an invitation for you to step into your purpose. Once you've healed your financial hurt, brokenheartedness, wherever that's come from and whatever that actually means for you, you're playing too small. You've got to move on from that. You've got to think bigger. Where is it that you are not working with your confidence enough? Where is it you are being now invited to look at how entitled that you might allow yourself to be to the best things in life? Because once you're willing to tap into this energy, not only does the money start coming through abundantly, but it happens very quickly. So ultimately, I'm not going to give you a timeline. I'm going to tell you straight up, the timeline is dependent entirely on each and every single person I'm connecting with here. When you've decided to go with the flow of it, 23, it starts moving really quickly. However, work on your solar plexus and come from a more Venus and Leo, I'm entitled to the good life energy, as opposed to money is one of those things that I have to struggle and strive for. This is what this new moon is inviting you to do. This is what this Venus and Leo energy is inviting you to do. Look at where it is that you may have even broken your own heart, the Lover's energy and the Nine of Cups. A lot of you are not solo in this, and I love this because this is Gemini energy all the way through. This Gemini new moon energy is saying there is an energy with you right now. You are fully being supported by a counterpart, an equally yoked counterpart. And if you haven't met this person in the 3D, shut up, yes you have. I'm not taking no for an answer on that person. For a lot of you, you have already met this person. But if you haven't, this new moon is that period of time where you should step into the energy of the perfect counterpart, okay? A lot of you will understand that a lot of that has to do with how emotionally content you are and how willing you are to look at your emotional accolades up until this point now. when necessarily speaking, technically you are your own partner. Now, once you begin looking at yourself with that much love and that much affection and that much attention, it is inevitable for you to draw in an energy that is willing to do that for you too. Now, this is where the real work is. This is absolutely where the real work is. How willing are you to be confident? How willing are you to be living from that Leo sunshine ego lit up place? How willing are you to adopt that apex predator, I'm going in for the kill, I'm going to have it if I want it energy? Because this Gemini new moon is telling you that you are at the center of your emotional accolades. Just work on your confidence, and that comes from your center of your belly, the fire in your belly, the determination, the motivation. How much are you willing to generate within yourself the fire that you know that you need to fly, to run it off into the sunset? The gifts are there. The gifts are being presented. The gifts will show up. Put yourself at the center of it. Put yourself at the center of it. Big Leo energy. Now, I feel like that's the message for the collective. Let's go into each sign and we will talk about what this Venus in Leo energy and what this Gemini new moon energy has for you. Rider-Waite and the Psychic Tarot by John Holland. I've had so much caffeine today by matcha. I've had like 3 cups of matcha. Okay, should we start with you, Aries? All right, Aries. What do you need to know for this Venus in Leo and Gemini new moon? 5 of Wands. Aries, there is pointless conflict. Absolutely pointless conflict that you are going to have to really be on top of, Aries. A lot of this is juvenile, a lot of it is pointless, a lot of it is unnecessary, but a lot of it can teach you a lot about combat, so I guess there is some point to it. You've got to decide for yourself, is it a struggle that you're trying to obtain, or is it good fortune? 7 when I saw the screen. Aries, you lucky beast. You absolutely lucky beast. Can you please contain your energy a little bit? You know that this new moon, you know that Venus in Leo is going to be very lucky and fortunate for you. Can you just be very careful about where it is that you might be distracted or you might be diverted from your good luck and your good fortune? Anywhere where there has been a lot of conflict, I feel like now you are stepping into this kind of phase almost where it's like going full circle, coming into a more abundant phase of life, coming into a luckier phase of life. This is about good things kind of coming through, you know. This is that kind of energy about good things just kind of working out. That lucky, abundant energy, solar plexus chakra. Do you understand how we're all so connected? Do you understand how we all come together and we make this magic? If this solar plexus card comes up for any other sign, I'm going to scream from the top of my voice, work on your freaking solar plexus, everyone. How confident are you willing to be with this energy? How confident are you willing to be about the fact that your sheer being here, your mere being here, is your invitation to everything that you want? How much are you willing to claim your own magic? If you're not in control of your abundance, you're not in control of your magic. If you are finding yourself struggling with finances, connect to the sun. Sit in the sun. The sun is the fire in your belly. A lot of you are really being invited. Create your own fortune by like controlling all of the pointless drains of energy that you've got in your life. Focus on bringing all of that energy and attention back to your solar plexus. That is the fire in your belly. How much How willing are you to be your own motivation? That's what this energy is all about. All right, who's next? Taurus. 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 There is a situation that you may have kind of thought wasn't going to really work out in your favor, and it just so happens that things are coming back in a really good way. Okay, the energy we put out inevitably is the energy that we get back in, and there is somewhere that you worked really, really hard, and there is somewhere that the efforts of your labor are now showing through, and they're coming through in a really beautiful, blessed kind of way. And so there are things that are happening. If you're just willing to look at the things that are coming through right now, I'm going to take this one, I'm not going to take these. And it's almost like, Taurus, you may have been put through a lot of really difficult lessons in life. You may have been put through a lot of really difficult, burdensome things, but they were really put in your life to make you stronger. And I feel like you're in this position now where you're being invited. Listen, you've made it 360, right? You've made it home. You've made it to the safe place. It is safe for you to drop the burdens, the heavy, burdensome energy of yesterday. If you're willing to do you a really good, if you're willing to do you, I don't understand how these idiots really get in here. Let's get this clown out of here. I don't know. If you're really willing to look at where it is that you can drop the burdens, where it is that you can let things go, let things come to a natural close, Taurus. Where is it that there is somewhere that you have to identify with allowing yourself to let go of certain things? I love how people that have no channel, they have no following, they have no support, they have absolutely nothing, come here and try and talk a whole bunch of rah-rah nonsense. Do you know what you've just done? You've just opened a portal for yourself, for someone who knows what they're doing, to actually leech onto your energy and suck you dry of all of your energy. All of the benefits and all of the good things that were supposed to happen in your life. That's what your comment has just done for you. Wow. All right, Taurus. It's always the ones with no magic that want to come here and tell other people what to do with their magic. All right, Taurus. You know what? This has been on my mind. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. You've got so many people that go around subscribing to people like the Wizard Liz. Like, how many millions of people? And the whole world is seeing what a freaking disaster that life is. I cannot be obnoxious enough, because I know that whoever follows this advice, whoever listens to what I have to say, will only succeed in their life, right? You've got idiots that actually sit and follow people like the Wizard Liz and subscribe to that kind of bullshit. 8 million of them. And then they want to come here, right? And just because some of us don't want to be out there like that, but we're tapped into stuff, because if you look at our lives, it's not full of the same toxic bullshit that a lot of people on social media with large followings have, right? Our lives are not full of that shit. Our lives are full of success, right? Now, as hard as you might try to pull our success from us, you're literally just fucking feeding us. I am feeding off of you, okay? Your shitty comment, your shitty energy here is what's feeding me. I'm going for your spine. I'm going for your root chakra. Don't step into places that you are not prepared to fight, okay? Because let me tell you something. 6 years ago, I spoke about Piers Morgan. And you know what YouTube did? They're so freaking afraid of me. They had to shadow ban me and shut me down. So I know what I'm tapping into. I know the energy of the people that I work with, who they are. You've got idiots that want to come here that follow people like the Wizard Liz and try and tell us that our magic ain't real. You losers couldn't even touch our magic if your life depended on it. Don't you dare come here and try and talk some whack shit when you follow people like the Wizard Liz. You scumbags don't know how this works. You've just opened a portal for yourself for me to tap into you and feed off of you. You will be the reason that I eat, because I'm feeding off of you. A lot of people don't know what they're playing with here, yet they come on these tarot channels thinking it's la la, you know, it's really not. Understand what we're doing here. This is energetic work, and understand the portals that you're fucking opening for yourself when you decide to come here with your bogus societal beliefs. Come here and tap into people like us. Thank you for being the reason that I eat. I cannot be obnoxious enough about it. I don't want certain people here to have access to this kind of information because they are following people like the Wizard Lives. I've got nothing against this person whatsoever, but it just blows my mind how people are so willing to jump on the bullshit bandwagon, the banana boat of bloody disasters, and then they come here and tell other people that they are full of shit. Get out of my energy before I literally... Oof. You don't want to go there with me, trust me. Alright, sorry, my apologies, Taurus. Where were we? I had to eat. And someone decided to be prey. Alright, Taurus. What do you need to know for this Apex Hunter new moon? Venus in Leo, Gemini new moon. I'm feeling hungry. Who should I eat now? All right, Taurus. I'm going to take this one. I'm not going to take these two. That says spiritual strength. So Taurus, there is somewhere that after a period of a very heavy, burdensome energy that you've grown mighty strong in the process of, there is this spiritual strength that you've kind of tapped into, which is now saying that there is this return, this period of returns. So look forward to that, Taurus. Who's next? Gemini. I'm not going to take that because that was too close. All right. Gemini, it's your new moon. What do we need to know for you? I feel like this is going to be a very, very powerful period of time right now. And I feel like a lot of people are really going to see for themselves how this Leo energy really is an energy to be played with. Leo in Venus is giving a lot of people that edge, that confidence, and that spark of fire back in their lives. So I will say that for a lot of people that don't know how to navigate this energy, you know, the people with zero survival instincts, they might not actually make it through this time. But for a lot of you that are willing to tap into that apex predator energy, where you are going out for what it is that you want, you will find that a lot of things naturally work out for you. All right, Gemini, what do you need to know? I'm going to take that one, not these. 5 of Pentacles. I love this energy for you, Gemini. It's saying that you are reaching this point, especially when it comes to your finances. You're reaching this point, Gemini, where things may have been a bit stagnant. They may have been a bit limited. They may have been a bit stuck. You, Gemini, are being invited with this new moon to go inside, get warmed up, go plug in and charge up, Gemini. There is somewhere where you may have exhausted a lot of your own energetic resources, and it may have led you to a bit of a point where you are feeling a bit stuck. And it's almost saying to you, like, look, you've got this opportunity to take the mental pressure off, especially when it comes to thinking about finances. Where is it that you may have depleted yourself And where is it and what is it that you can do to do exactly that? Come in from the cold and charge up. Come in from the cold, charge up, and see what it is that you can do to bring back life to yourself. In terms of relationships and partnerships, I feel like there's a really strong partnership here. But Gemini, what you're being told to do also is to really get into the zone with your work. You know, that Gemini zone of really being about it. There's somewhere where you might even need to work on your creation center, which is your sacral chakra. There is somewhere that you might need to put in the hard work when it comes to what you do to earn money, rejoice and celebration. And I think it's a really good time for you, Gemini, to focus on what it is that you can do to create those networks. Because I feel like the more you are being invited to come in from the cold, the more you are being invited to plug in, it's the same energy as putting your focus and attention to what you do in order to create prosperity and finances for you. And there is this element of being tied into the community also, Gemini. So I would pay attention to that, see where it is that you can connect in to not only yourself but your community. Who are your people? Who are these like-minded individuals for you? Who's next? Cancer. Cancer, what do you need to know? There's Venus in Leo energy, and there's Gemini new moon. What do you need to know? All right, Cancer, what do you need to know? What do you need me to tell you? Let's take these messages. Five of Pentacles, the Justice card, the Hanged Man, and the Moon card. All right, there is somewhere here, Cancer, you're really going to have to balance out certain situations for yourself where you may have been stuck. I would use this new moon energy to really look at where it is that you may have been feeling emotionally drained or emotionally in deficit, and to see what it is that you can do to bring back some voice of reason, almost this logical balance that's needed. You might need to take a bit of a break out, Cancer. You really might need to just sit with the moon and really reflect for yourself where it is that you need to illuminate your own thoughts, thinkings on certain situations. Suffering in silence. This is now the second time or the third time this has come out for you, Cancer. There's 4 cards here, 4 and 4. Trapped in fear, memories of love, suffering in silence, and awareness. Okay. There is somewhere where you are really gonna have to look at what it is in regards to love that has you kind of in this trapped in fear kind of energy and suffering in silence. With the real work here is what it is that you need to focus on in order to expand your awareness, Cancer. You might be keeping yourself limited. You might be keeping yourself out in the cold. And what you would really benefit from doing is finding some kind of balance and equilibrium for yourself. There is somewhere where you might need to use this new moon in order to illuminate certain things for yourself. Because what may have been hidden is now becoming aware to you. So where it is that you may have been trapped in fear, there is somewhere where there are certain memories about love or relationships that have had you being more in a state of suffering and silence and not necessarily being able to speak on it. This phase in time for you, Cancer, before we even come into your season, really is about expanding your consciousness and your awareness and what it is that you need to do to focus on bringing about being the voice of reason, what it is that you need to do about a lack mindset or a lack mentality, and what it is that you need to do to kind of take yourself out of the energy and suffering and more into the energy of intuitive awareness. Okay. Okay. All right. I think it's so obvious that this Venus in Leo is really going to show who is going to survive this financial energy, okay? And I say that in a way that means like, where is your head at when it comes to money is energy? Like, how well do you understand that? After Cancer is Leo, so let's get into the energy of Leo. Leo, what do you need me to tell you for this Venus in Leo energy and this new moon in Gemini? If anyone would like to timestamp, please go ahead. All right. Leo, what does Venus in Leo mean for you? Okay, I'm not going to take those. They came out in a clump. Leo, I'm going to take that. That's the Emperor card. That means there is this period of time, Aries energy, that you're stepping into, which is you taking ownership, authority, and charge of not only where you create from, but the truth of the situation, Leo. There is somewhere where there could be a father figure. It doesn't have to be, but it is very much paternal energy. There is some kind of truth that is being brought up in terms of this fire energy, father energy, ownership energy. There is somewhere that there might be a specific masculine in your life, and there's a certain truth that's coming out about somebody that you might be in a sexual relationship with. Other than that, I would use Venus in Leo, this phase of time for you, Leo, where you can really focus on the sacral chakra and what it is that you can do to be the truth and be very authoritative about the truth that you have about what it is that you need to do in order for you to be more authoritative about your life. Okay? That's the message for you, Leo. Virgo. Virgo. What do you need to know for this Venus in Leo and Gemini new moon phase, Virgo? What do you need to know? Virgo, what do you need to know? It is very much, Virgo, the end of a cycle of suffering. There really is this period of time, Virgo, where I feel like there have been certain burdens and betrayals that you've taken to heart, possibly, and where it is that they may have seeped into your aura. Virgo, where is it that you can really do your best to end certain cycles of suffering? Because the dawn's already come up on that, okay? That phase is already over. This phase of Venus in Leo, this new moon in Gemini, Virgo, is an ascension for you. And it's an ascension in a spiritual way. Virgo, there's a very big being reborn, this energy of new beginning, an awakening. This new moon, this Venus in Leo phase for you, Virgo, really is a spiritual awakening. This is an ascension. This is a new level of being spiritually aware. There is this new level, this new phase, Virgo, after a period of you knowing that you cannot be going back to the betrayals of yesterday. Because now, Virgo, you're too spiritually aware. You've got your coven, you've got your crowd, you know better. I feel like that's the messages from the Rider Waite for you, Virgo. Let's go into the Psychic Tarot by John Holland. What does Virgo need to know for this Venus in Leo, Gemini new moon phase? Discontent, boredom, and fertility. So Virgo, this new moon is a moon in an intellectual sign, right? Gemini is one of those signs that is very Mercury heavy. Mercury represents intellect, transactions, sales, trade, community, all of those things that require an energetic flow. There is somewhere, Virgo, where you may have been outgrowing a certain situation, a certain cycle of suffering. There may have been somewhere where you might have been too heavily focused on what it is that you really don't want. There is somewhere, however, Virgo, that you need to understand that as the planets go into your sign, what this discontent and boredom may have been doing is illuminating for you, where it is that you need to, take what you thought as boredom and discontentment and actually see where it is that it was literally somewhere where you've been stabbed in the back. And what that betrayal energy has done for you in your life. There is somewhere here, Virgo, where there is a spiritual connection to your fertility. And there is somewhere here where you can be in a more creative space, Virgo. And this has a lot to do with your sacral chakra also. So whatever was being, but they illuminated the heart chakra here. So there is somewhere where you can take this new moon, this Venus and Leo energy, and really close out cycles of discontentment and boredom for yourself, and really redirect that energy towards your spiritual growth and your fertility in terms of what it is that you create, in terms of what it is that you, like how fertile you are. It's all tied back to abundance ultimately. But there is somewhere where this period of time, Virgo, is going to have to be about you opening up your heart space. And that's what I have for you, Virgo. Libra. You're so welcome, Jennifer. All right. Libra, what do you need to know? I'm not going to take those because they came out in a clump. Leo, what do you need to do? I just have to say also the energy that's brought here is the energy that's returned back to each person tenfold. 100%. So if you're bringing negativity here, don't be surprised when your entire life is full of negativity. But if you're bringing good energy here, don't be surprised if your life is full of good energy. Karma is so real. All right. Libra, that's the sun. There is a rejuvenation in your life. There is somewhere where the sun has decided to come out. There is you riding off into the sunset, somewhere where you are feeling revitalized, reborn, and renewed. There is something here, Virgo, Libra, that is saying to you, believe in a positive outcome. Believe in the fact that things can be abundant for you, because that's exactly where you're headed. Race off into the sunset and have a good time, Libra. And the card that came out for you, and I'm going to take that one as opposed to the other ones that came out in the clump, is the sacral chakra. And that is saying that there is somewhere where you should focus on what you do to be creative. And how that is tied into your coming into a new phase of feeling reborn, a new identity, new branding. Scorpio, what do we have for you? The Lovers. How nice. Scorpio, there is somewhere here where you are going to be in this phase of love. I feel like there is a counterpart, a specific person. You and this person are meant to be together. You and this person are very much divinely blessed, divinely connected, divinely brought together for a purpose and a reason. And there is somewhere where the two of you need to be moving on from discontent and boredom. Okay, Scorpio, I get it. This relationship needs a revival. You either decide to move on because you are discontent and bored, or you either decide to move on from the feeling of being discontent and bored within this relationship and move on to something like a new phase within the relationship or a new dynamic within the relationship. But where is it that boredom and discontentment has taken over this relationship? And what is it that you can do to bring back the lover energy, the sparky lover's energy within this relationship, Scorpio? Okay, Sagittarius. This pain in the ass that has been in the chat. Queen of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles. There is somewhere, Sagittarius, where there is a offer that's being brought forward to you that you might be looking at with rather suspicious eyes. Some of you might be thinking it's too good to be true. Some of you might be thinking it's not entirely right, but some of you might need to actually look at things for what they are. What you're being offered is something of substance and value. And what you're doing is turning a blind eye to a gift horse. Looking a gift horse in the mouth. So where is it, Sagittarius, that you might actually need to pay a little bit more attention on what's being brought forward to you? And how much of it you feel like you're actually worthy of, and how much of your trauma, stigmas, etc. are keeping you away from certain blessings. I'm going to take all of these. Sacrifice, deception and envy, and victory and success. There is somewhere where you might have a lot of jealous eyes on you, and there is somewhere where you might have to make certain sacrifices, especially when it comes to things that don't resonate with victory and success for you, Sagittarius. And that's what I have for you. Okay, Capricorn. That's very easy. I like that. That is the Sun card. You, like Libra, are riding off into the sunset. There is a certain liberation here for you, and it comes with a sacrifice. And so if you know that there is something that you want to do, if you know that you deserve to be happy, if you know, Capricorn, that there is somewhere else that you would rather be, there is your present current reality, something that you're participating in that you are going to have to sacrifice in order for this rebirth and this rejuvenation and this renewal to take place, Capricorn. So if you are willing to set yourself free from lower vibrational timelines, make the sacrifice that you know that you need to make, set yourself free, Capricorn. I feel like that's what this new moon in Gemini and this Venus in Leo phase is all about for you. Okay. Aquarius. That is the lover's energy. There is a relationship here. Gemini's energy, it's focused on counterparts. It's focused on relationship. It's saying, where is it that you might be coming into relationship, or there is a certain relationship that involves fertility, pregnancy. I believe, Aquarius, this new moon, there might be a pregnancy kind of thing that comes up. That's what I have for you, Aquarius. All right. Pisces. The moon. Ooh, Pisces. Interesting. Pisces, this new moon is about certain things coming to light, certain things that you thought were hidden, certain things that you didn't really think much of being exposed, coming about, the truth coming out about certain things. And it's in terms of wisdom, Taurian energy. Pisces, this is literally something here that is being opened and exposed to you. And I feel like it's something that is not only going to really expand your level of wisdom, but I feel like this Venus in Leo energy is going to be, and this Gemini new moon is really just a period of time where you're really becoming a lot more wise. Okay. And I feel like if you are to use this new moon energy to really think about what it is that you may have done in the past that wasn't necessarily resonating with the highest version of you, this new moon and this Venus in Leo energy is about you being brought onto this place where you are operating from a place of more wisdom. All right, guys, that is what I have for now for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope everyone had a wonderful time. Do not forget to hit that thumbs up button if you wish to reap the benefits of the reading. Otherwise, it literally slips through your fingers. All the energy that was brought here, all of the wonderful energy that was brought here will be absolutely returned back. All of the nasty energy that was brought here will absolutely be returned back 10,000-fold. Thank you, everyone who's so loving and supporting. Thank you so much for being here. And hopefully, if you're Virgo, I'll catch you tomorrow. Have a good one, guys. Take care.